Are you all feeling
Good
okay?
evening, teacher. That's okay.
Yes.
Feeling well, right? Okay, so have you finished reading unit 10, 11, and 12? Already finished reading?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay. That one we are going to discuss together. Now let's start our section. But before we get started, I just want you to discuss together with your group members, okay, especially about unit 10, 11, and 12, because we are going to do some exercises as well. So first of all, I will just give you the terminology here. The first one is the differences between form and acquisition. What are the differences between form and acquisition? You can think about it. Form and acquisition. And second one is a sort of focus on form and focus on meaning. What are the differences between them? Focus on form, focus on meaning. That is also another point. And next point is you can think of other things. For example, the activities that you know. Have you ever heard of Simon Said activities? Simon Says stand up. Simon Says touch your nose. Have you ever heard of?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so for that activity, how do you think? Is it a kind of focus on form or focus on meaning?
Focus on form.
Focus on form. Yes.
Meaning, teacher.
On form,
Meaning, teacher.
something
Meaning.
according to what the teachers. Not
Meaning, teacher.
Yes.
Meaning, teacher. Yes.
Meaning.
one. Another one.
Focus on
Excuse
meaning.
me, if you have the background noise. If you have the background noise, could you turn off your microphone? Background noise. If you have a terrible background noise, please turn off your microphone. If you have a terrible background noise. Okay, thank you. So, like this one, in breakout room, I want you to think of some activities that you know. Okay, the famous activity. There are so many activities in English and you can think of it. So for each of the activity, which one is focused on form and which one is focused on meaning? At least, I want you to think about it for 6 activities. Okay, 6 activities at least. You can think of it together. And then another one is, this is about unit 10, right? Unit 10 is mainly talk about focus on form, focus on meaning, focus on acquisition. And then unit 11. I think you have already read about unit 11 as well. Unit 11 talk about different types of error. What do you mean by developmental error? You can discuss that point, developmental error. And then another one is fossilized error. Fossilized error. And the next point is the differences between slip and error. What are the differences between slip and error? And then another one is sort of how do you say? We could say register error. Some of the terminology you may know it, but some terminology you may not know it. But just try to discuss together. Stylistic error. Okay, this is one part, and another part is the differences between L1 and L2 learning. First language learning and second language learning. For example, how did you learn Myanmar language in your life? And then how did you start learning English? What are the differences between them? So in breakout room, I just want you to discuss mainly for those areas. Okay, unit 10, 11, and 12. If you remember some other ideas, you can also discuss those points. When you come back to the main section, let me ask one by one. At that time, you can come back to the main section with your own example. For example, register error, you know the definition, but you don't know the example at the time. In breakout room, please try to participate actively. So relating those things, I will give you 15 minutes to discuss together in breakout room. So let's get started, and you can join the breakout room together. 6 different rooms. Okay, who wants to go?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, nice to meet you, teachers. Okay.
Nice to meet you, teacher.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I have read all those units. So, shall we gonna discuss about it?
Yes, teacher.
So yeah, 6 activities for meanings and fonts. So the meaning is the vocabulary, right?
Yes, vocabulary.
The
Yes,
font, the font is the
grammar.
right?
Like this grammar. Yes, subject, verb, object, like this.
Yes.
I think, yes.
So yeah, even though I read all through the 3 units, but I didn't remember statistics and whether register
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 error.
error, stylistic error.
Yes, that is the error.
You guys have a clear.
Mm.
Just the first one.
First one, we need to start with unit 10, I think.
Okay.
Unit 10 is form and acquisition. Is difference between form and acquisition.
Acquisition, yeah.
Yes.
Acquisition.
Acquisition is I think this is just pick it up, right?
Yeah, pick up the language.
Yeah.
Yes, pick up the language.
Yeah. So meaning we're gonna talk about the activity for meaning and form, right?
Yes. Focus, form, or and meaning. Next one is focus, form, or and meaning is 6 activity. We need to differentiate which activity is form, which activity is meaning.
Can you think about 6 activity?
Yeah.
Can you think? I can't think at the moment.
Okay. I got a little idea.
That one is teacher means this is one activities, right? So we can read create a reader to
reader.
and also
And then the next one is listening or listen to the sound. Watching movie. Yes.
English environment.
English environment.
Okay.
Watch movie.
And how about other teachers for activities?
Actually, I don't understand what you're saying. Activities for form or acquisition, right?
Yeah, both. Yeah. Yeah, teacher said that here any activities. Yeah.
Any activities.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I see. Yes. Any activities.
Okay, we can
teachers, yes.
I think
For
yeah.
So for any activities like what I currently use in my classrooms, board race and the hangman. So the most of the class I'm teaching now is like IELTS class and ESL classes. So in those classes, I use like board race. I call out the every members from every groups, and I assign them into different groups, and I call out one person for each groups, and then I let them write on the board the vocabs that are related to the topic that I set. So there's the one games that I use in ESL classes, and also in like children like flyers or mover levels, like I use like handman games to revise their vocabulary. So sometimes they may forget about the spelling. So at the times I use handman games to revise those.
Yes. Okay. So your activity is related to form and acquisitions. Yeah. And also your focus is form. when you teach grammar, so you just call.
6 activities.
Yes. And
I think
So
warm
for
up activities, warm up.
yeah,
Before
warm-up
we
activity,
start the
yes.
lesson, yes, we can warm up the students to be active. So that is
Yes.
one of activities, one of.
Warm up, yes, we should start our class with warm up activity. And from the starting of class, we have to introduce each other. So we have to pick up name. I think when the teacher pick up somebody, and this one pick up again another friends. I think
Yeah.
how can we say this activity? Introduction.
Yes, introduction activities.
Yes.
Introduction
Like
activities.
ice
And then
What about ice breaking activity?
ice breaking activities. Introduction activity, ice breaking activity. And then one of the activity is playing the game.
Playing the
As
game.
we
Yes.
online, yes, there are so many online games to test the students' qualities and the students' access, right? So
And the next one is teacher. Throwing the balloon each other, teacher. Throwing the balloon and teacher lights. So last students sit out the wall like that. Gozani with fun animals or Gozani with sea creatures like this, teacher.
Yeah. I'm not a language teacher, so I don't know much about activities, but I have learned in those classes, those courses. So there has been some activities that catch my attention. It's when I attended an upper intermediate class in British Council, there is an activity that I have done. That is it is called bingo.
Bingo.
It means
Yeah. Drawing the table and
drawing the table, but it's not like the ordinary bingo game. It
ordinary bingo game.
The teacher draw the table on the whiteboard, and there will be numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. And then the students are divided into groups, and each group has to choose a number. For example, if the group 1 choose number 2, and then number 2, the teacher asks the question number 2. Did you?
Yeah.
When we have to attend the preschool, so we need to communicate with our friends. In that case, so we communicate. You should know that as I have an experience as a preschool teacher, I know that so some of the kids, they communicate, and sometimes only one word, that is their language. They communicate only one or two words. Yeah. So sometimes they say that 3 words that they know each other, because their ways of language acquisition is the same. I think how I understand is that, right? So according to the age and also according to the step by step, so we acquire the language. So but that is not only one way. So we acquire the language from the different way. I think so. That's what I understand. Acquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teacher Idana, so how do you understand acquisition? So
I agree with you, teacher.
Thank you. And then so acquire mean we learn it step by step, and also starting from repeating our mom,
repeating and using gesture.
And also another one is, and then we reform. I think that we reformulation. We reform the words, right?
Yeah.
And also L1 and L2. We have to discuss about that.
Oh, yeah. The first language and the second language.
Teacher Ada. Teacher
Yes,
Ada Mu.
Yes, Chair.
Yes. Are you from Yangon?
Yes, Chair.
Are you from Yangon?
Yes, Chair.
Oh, yes. But you look like, from the, you doesn't look like a typical Burmese. That's why I'm asking you. Are you Burmese too?
Yes, Chair.
So do we need
is
to
there
talk
anyone who doesn't speak Myanmar? Oh, sorry. Yes, teacher.
No, I
Yes,
just
teacher, carry on. Teacher,
do we
say.
have to talk about Unit 12 right now?
Yes.
Unit 12.
Unit 12 also. I thought only games, that's why.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking that. What I want to know is that is there any teacher that who doesn't speak Burmese language as a native speaker?
I don't think so,
Doesn't
right?
speak. I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, my native language is also Myanmar.
So we have to discuss about the L1.
No, we have to forget about the L1 and L2, right?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah.
So L1 is our mother tongue and L2 is that we learn the other language, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But when learning L1, we don't even know that we're learning, and there are no rules when learning L1, right?
Just picking up from the environment.
Yes, and that becomes a problem when we teach like young learners English, because we're teaching them with
another group, right?
Welcome back, teachers. Now you're at the main section. Okay, so now let's start our discussion. Shall we start with teacher Kan Ki?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, teacher, can you talk about anything that you want?
Yes, Chair. So actually, we don't have enough time to discuss each and every unit, but we discuss this very well about the unit 10. And so we discuss a lot about forms and acquisitions. And so what I understand is that form and the difference between form and acquisition is conscious and unconsciousness. Yeah. So form is consciousness learning and conscious learning, and acquisition is unconscious learning. So that's what I understand. And another one is, so focus on form is we focus on the grammatical structure in the L2 in a foreign language, and the pronunciation and also the spelling, that is written forms and the reading form, and also the spoken form. So in that language learning, so that is focused on. So that is for the mostly on L2 learning. What I understand is that. Another point is focus on acquisition. And focus on acquisition is, and we discuss together about the L1 learning, our mother tongue learning. So in that case, I record, actually I am a working mom, so that I know that, my baby language acquisitions. So that's why I learn it in the first stage. when we learned our mother tongues, so they don't pronounce, they don't produce any words, but they just look at our its mother, and also they just know that. So is she scolding her, or is she saying something, some good points, good positive things to her or him, right? So that is, I think that what I understand is that the dad working out the meanings, that is, and then that is the first stage. And then in the second stage, and then so when they start pronouncing the words, only one or two words, at that time they repeat the words from their mother. So that is the second stage, I understand. And also the next stage is that, so in the age of 1 year or 2 years, so they can produce the words very well, and 1 or 2 or 3 words. So in that case, so they repeat their mother words, and also they recreate the words, and they create their new words. So that's in that way. At that time, mother reformed their words. It's not the right way to call that one or this one, right? So like this, that is the stage. And when they attend the preschool, so they have to use their language to communicate others. So that's why in that case, so they sometimes they use 3 or 4 words. They don't use a very long words and the very long sentences, but sometimes they can communicate with the very short sentences. And then after that, they have a lot of exposure, and also they acquire the language from their surrounding. So in that case, so sometimes they paraphrase from the teachers, and also they just communicate with their friends. That is what I understand about our language acquisition. Compare it with our language acquisition, our mother tongue acquisition. That's what I understand. And so, but we didn't discuss a lot about on the activity, but we discussed only 2 for each of the focus on meaning and focus on the phone, focus on the phones, right? So so the first one is so that details. So you mean that Simon says, so that is, we know that is focus on meaning. Another one is so when we ask students to have a body movement, for example, to get a refreshment in our classroom, we just say that, oh, stand up. So that is focusing on the meaning. If they understand, they will stand up, like the Simon say, right? So that is the activity. We didn't talk about much activity for that one. And then another one is, and so for the focusing on the phone is that, so rearrangements for the sentences, rearranging the sentences. So we can write down the words on the paper, on a piece of the paper, and we ask students to pick that papers on the whiteboard or on the board, and then so they have to rearrange according to the sentence structure that they have learned. I think that. So that is what we have discussed about that one. Sorry, we haven't finished all.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you so much. So according to your discussion, what we could assume is focus on form. Can you still hear me, teachers? I have a cough and I have got a very sore voice now. Firstly, we can have like focus on form and acquisition. Actually, form does not mean grammar only. It means how to say, we are trying to learn about the spelling, pronunciation, and also about the grammar. We want something exactly from our students. So mostly it can be happen in L2 learning, like you said. We are trying to learn something consciously. That's why focus on form is similar to focus on accuracy. Focus on form and accuracy are quite similar. Accuracy also, right? We want the accurate use of language from the students. Whenever we ask them to do something, we want something exactly. Spelling also, maybe you can do spelling bees activities, or maybe you could ask the students to read the passage. After they have read the passage, they need to write down the correct answer. For example, You ask the students to read about Edison's biography, and then you give the question like, when was Edison born? So at that time, the student, they need to go and find the time he was born, and then go and locate it. After that, they are going to get the answer exactly. That is also a kind of focus on form activity. Form and accuracy are the same. And acquisition it's normally happen whenever we try to learn our L1. L1 means, for me, my L1 is Burmese. But if you are not Burmese, maybe your first language would be Kachin or Gaya or Kayin or something like this. So it may be vary from one ethnic group to another. So acquisition is we just pick up the language automatically. We pick up it. We don't need to force ourselves to learn something. That's why for that one, we could also say acquisition is a kind of informal learning. We learn something informally, not within the classroom. It can happen while we are talking with our friends. We learn some languages automatically. And also for the very young learners, they are very good at picking up the language. That's why, whenever we are together whenever we are with the very young learners, we should try to be careful when we are talking about something. For example, if we talk to them with a very rude language, they might imitate it and they don't even know what's the meaning of it. And they try to speak it up. Oh, they say like this, and I will also say like this. So for us also, if we make use of classroom language, especially in grammar point wrongly, hey, he don't know, she don't know. If the teacher starts saying like this, the students will imitate what we say and they just try to reuse it back. He don't know, she don't know. Instead of saying he doesn't know, she doesn't know. So acquiring is like this. Acquiring happens in almost every situation, and especially in young learners, very, very young learners and very, very young kids. They are easy to acquire the language informally. Okay, so thank you, teacher. Now let me pick up another teacher from another group. Teacher Lavender. Hello, teacher.
Hello, teacher. Hello.
Okay, so
yeah, teacher.
Can you talk about something that?
Yes, teacher. Actually, when I joined in the group, I was late, teacher. I joined the attend late so that I'm not discussed with them. But teacher, I already read the unit 10, 11, and 12.
Suggest you, Edissa. You talk about 2 points that you remember most.
Okay, teacher. In the unit 10, I read exposure and the focus. Exposure is about learning. Hello?
Yeah, go on, okay?
Hello, teacher. Do you hear me?
Very well.
Yes, teacher. I read about the exposure and the focus on the found. The exposure is the kinds of learning without studying, just only pick it automatically from the another. So the exposure and the focus on learning is especially we are making focus on found is in language too. So that, and then the next one is in unit 11. In unit 11, I learned about the era, That is, these are sleep era, developmental era, and then interference. Sleep era. Sleep era is just a kind of era, but the learner didn't note it and then speak it, but actually the learner can be correct by itself. That is sleep era, teacher. And then interference is learner may use pattern or lexis or grammatically structure from their mother tongue. When they are speaking, they are using their mother tongue a lot. It's influence on the talking style or something like that. That is interface era. And the developmental era is its short point is it's a kind of era. It's depending. It's thinking a lot of the rules. So that it's becoming an era that is called developmental era. I'm not sure teacher it's true or not. I just read about it.
Okay, thank you, teacher. So in general, what we could say is exposure. Exposure is the same with acquisition, right? You just acquire the language, or another way we could say pick up something. You pick up the language. You acquire the language. You acquire something from somebody, from somebody. And also another one is learning something informally. So generally we could say like this. And another point you discuss is the differences between slip and error. Slip and error are not the same. Sorry for the spelling mistake. E-R-R-O-R, error. So slip is, we know it. We know it from our mind, which is wrong, which is right. We automatically know about that one. But because of our anxiety and because of our nervous feeling, we are making mistakes. Those mistakes are called slips. So slips is, we know it, but because we're trying to make it. So for example, when we are going to teach the class for the very first time, at the time, the very first time, everybody feels very nervous. Even the teacher, we feel really, oh my God, what type of students are we going to meet? And you might have that anxiety. At that time, when you are talking to your students, you pay attention to fluency mostly. In that case, you are tending to make some grammar mistakes and how to say pronunciation mistakes unconsciously. That mistake is called slip. Most students also, when they are doing public speaking in front of the people, at that time they tend to make some of the slips. Or sometimes, not in public speaking stage, they try to talk with their partners in a breakout room. But at that time, they really want to say something quickly because they want to share their ideas a lot. In that case, also, they can make slips. Slip is they know it, but they make it because of their carelessness. And then error. For error, it can be like something we know or something we don't know. Maybe we make error because we don't know it yet. We haven't learned that one completely yet, or maybe sometimes we have already learned, but there can be like other categories of errors, right? We tend to make it. So like this. And interference error. So most of the people have difficulties in correcting this type of error. Interference error is because of our first language, influence. We are Myanmar, right? So at the time, we have Myanmar influence a lot. So supposing we have the word like Salibado. You know Salibado? Salibado. No. Burmese, we say Salibado, right? That can be found in railway station, especially in the railway station. We can find the big block. So for that one, you can think about it. So the big block is a kind of sleeper, right? S-L-E-E-P-E-R, sleeper. But we Myanmar people don't want to say sleeper. Oh, it's really difficult. Saliba. And it's a kind of block. So we tend to say Salibado. And some people even say like Salibadongji. So that is a kind of interference error. We could say phonological interference error, phonological pronunciation. That interference error occurs in pronunciation. And sometimes we can even make grammatical interference error as well. Grammatical interference error. For example, we could say down, mountain, bo, on, mountain, on, climb, mountain, on, climb. So that is a kind of grammatical interference error. We translate directly from Myanmar language. So at that time, we are tending to make some mistakes. Okay, so now let me pick up some teachers to give more example for interference error. Teacher Lan Wei, could you give one example for interference error? Maybe phonology or grammar or anything.
Grammatical error, teacher. Grammatical error, and then because of the mother, sometimes it's not saying she is kind to me, but when we translate into Myanmar, and she is kind upon me, to and upon. That is a kind of grammatical error, teacher.
Yes. So interference error.
And
right?
then married to. Yeah. And then instead of saying she is married to a man, but she is, and then sometimes say she is married with a man. Actually, the correct one is she is married to a man.
Sure. So it can be like this. And what about teacher Lily Pihan? Teacher Pin Pin?
Yes, teacher. For me, I think car, right? Car. We tend to pronounce car when I say car. That is also because of our mother tongue influences, we make a lot of mistake on that kind of pronunciation. Car and car. This
Sure.
is also,
We don't want to say car. It's
Car, yes.
strange, right? So, phonological interference error. Okay, thank you, teacher. So now it's time for another teacher. Teacher Sun Ban Pugh, what about you? Could you give one example for it?
Yes. We mostly make a mistake on pronunciation because we directly translate from our mother language. I forgot to give an example. Maybe sometime in and on, like set on the, how can I say? I forgot to give an example.
We translate something directly from our
from mother language to target language. Yeah. Sat on the chair, but we sometimes say sat in the chair, something like that. In and on. I forgot to give an example.
Because of our mother tongue experience.
Yeah.
Because you know,
because
for
of
that kind of error in the exam, they will just give you some example. And by looking at the example, you need to make decision. Is it a kind of interference error or developmental error or phonological error like this? So you just need to do matching. To be able to do matching, basically, we need to know the definition of each of the type. And after that, you can also come up with your own example. This way can be helpful for you. Okay, thank you so much. Now, let me pick up another teacher from another group. You can talk as much as you remember. Teacher Anh Tam Mu. Hello, teacher.
Hello, teacher. We discussed about some activities to differentiate form and acquisition. So the first one we came up with is we gave the students some nouns and then we make them put into under the same category to learn about meanings and spellings. And another one is that we let them play a hangman game. So we give them like blanks and then we let them guess the words, guess the alphabet, and then we make them learn about spellings. And another one is that we make them the lyrics of a song with some blanks, and then we let them listen to the song and then fill in the blanks and let them pay attention to the lyrics. In that way, from acquisition, they can learn about some meanings and their listening skills will be improved. And another one is that we let them say things like, I'm good at something, I'm good at drawing, or I'm good at doing something like that. We let them say things like that. And another one is that we make them guess the animals or guess the things. We give them hints and then we let them guess the things like this too. So we mainly discuss about those activities too.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So now let me give you one activity and you can think of it. Is it an activity for focusing on the form or focusing the meaning? First of all, step one is you give the story of Cinderella. So at the time, the student, they need to read about the Cinderella story. After they have read that one, you ask them to write down the summary of Cinderella story. So is it a kind of focus on form activity or focus on meaning activity? How do you think, teachers? Writing the summary of something.
Meaning.
Meaning.
Focus on meaning.
Yeah.
Focus on meaning, right? Because we don't need everything exactly. We don't need everything exactly. Okay, another one is you give the, how to say, random words to the students. Random words means, for example, you start giving like, you start asking the questions to the students one by one. Okay, teacher Sumo, let's start a little bit. Can you tell me one word in English that you like? Which word do you like in English? Just one word.
Pineapple.
Pineapple, okay, pineapple. Let's think about it. Pineapple. And teacher Mala, what about you? Which word do you like?
Elephant.
Elephant. Okay, pineapple, elephant. Teacher Pim Pim?
It has to be fruit, teacher. Does it have to be fruit?
Anything that you like.
Okay, kindness.
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 Okay.
Yeah, kindness.
So the first teacher say pineapple. Second teacher say, sorry, I lost my memory. Elephants, right? Okay, pineapple, elephants, and another one is kindness.
Kindness.
Let me note down that one. Pineapple, and then elephants. Next one is kindness. Okay, so what about teacher Namyo? Can you tell me one word that you like?
Give it.
Sorry?
Give it, teacher.
Give up. Oh no, you need to give up.
Yeah.
So what about teacher say you eh? Teacher say you win?
Music.
Music. Music. And then the last word is Nai.
Sky, teacher.
Sky.
Sky.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are all together 6 types of words, right? So if it is in a real class, I will try to create a situation by looking at that one. For example, once upon a time, there was a very lovely elephant and he likes to eat a lot of pineapples whenever he has free time. You know, because of his kindness, all the animals in the jungle want to give different types of fruit to him, but he prefers pineapple most. And also one thing, my favorite thing of him is he is really good at listening to music, and he can even sing the songs by looking at the sky. But you know, as his voice is not very good, finally he has to give up what he wants to sing. So, like this one, I just give the example to the students, and they just need to create a situation by looking at those things on their own. So maybe you can even ask them to write something or to talk about that one in breakout room. You ask the students randomly and do something like this. Is it a kind of focus on form activity or focus on meaning activity? How do you think?
Focus on form.
Focus on form.
Form.
Meaning.
Sure.
Yes. Focus on meaning.
Meaning, right? Not the form. Because for the words, I didn't give you any words. You just say it randomly. And then when you're trying to create something, I'm testing your creativity only. Creativity only. Not about the, how to say, writing something accurately, use present tense, use past tense, start with once upon a time. I'm not giving instruction to you anything. I just give my own example, and you can also create your own example like this. So it's a kind of focus on meaning activity. That's why to be able to answer some questions from unit 10, we need to know a lot of activities in English. The name of the activities or the procedure of the activities. To be able to know that one, we need to read a lot. Okay, reading matters a lot because activity-based questions can be a lot, and sometimes you know the theory from TKD course book and the activities from your own experience or from the book you have read can be related to each other. So let's start trying to read. So this is your very first week of learning TKD. That's why I want you to start reading the activities on your own. I will share the books as well, but you can also find the activities on YouTube, or maybe you can even read the books on your own as well. Starting from tomorrow, I will start giving you daily schedule. Daily schedule. So for example, okay, today is February 18th. For February 18th, do this one, do that one, do that one, do this one. I will give you the instructions like this, and you can try it accordingly. If you can do it, it's okay. It's better. It's much more better. I'm not, how to say, forcing you do it, not like this. It's up to you. If you want to get band 4, you can try it. So you can start with the schedule starting from next week. Okay, so now another one is from group number 6. Finished another group. Teacher Anya Puse, room 4. Hello, teacher.
Hello, teacher.
Could you also talk about unit 10, 11, 12? Which 3 things do you remember most?
3 things that I remember most would be the difference between slip and error. The first thing is the difference between slip and error. I mean, slips is something you know, but you make mistake because of like teacher said, because you are nervous, or sometimes you are not focused on what you are saying or what you are writing. Those kind of mistakes are slips. And errors is when the students try to use English that is a little bit higher than their level, and then they make mistakes. That kind of mistakes are errors, I think. And then another thing is the developmental error, and it is a positive. That kind of error is a positive one, because they make those errors because the students make those errors because they are trying to experiment with their languages and try to play with their languages, so they can improve from those errors. And then another one is fossilized errors. Fossilized errors is the same as habitual errors. They know that those mistakes are wrong, but they keep on doing the same mistake again and again. Those mistakes can be bad ones. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you talk about two new terminology, right? Developmental error, and also another one is fossilized error. Developmental
Yes.
error is a kind of how to say, like you said, a kind of positive error, and it can happen in almost every letter. Normally, we have to learn from number 1 to 5. At that time, we teachers do not teach everything, start from the beginning until the end completely in one day. We don't teach it in one day. We go like little by little, and give the input section to the students. So for example, you just give the input section for number 1 and number 2 only, and the students might not know number 3, 4, and 5 yet. At that
Yes.
time, you can make the mistake when you ask the question from level 5. So
yes,
that mistake is called developmental error. So we intentionally try it. Sometimes, we give the, how to say, a little bit higher level to the students. How much can they think of it? Today also, I use this technique. I think you might know it. When I type something on the whiteboard, I give you two new
register error and yes.
register error and stylistic error. Those things are not
Error,
available
yes.
in your coursebook, and I intentionally ask you because I really want you to discuss, and I just want to know how much can you think of it. So I intentionally put it. That is a kind of I'm helping you to improve your developmental error. I just want to know your opinion about that one. Okay, so developmental error is like this. For the young learners or adults, whenever we teach something, we can also use this technique. So for example, you teach how to make from, how to say, singular form to plural form. You teach like, okay, if you want to make the plural form, you just need to put S at the end of the noun. B-O-O-K, book, B-O-O-K-S, books, P-E-N, pen, P-E-N-S, pens. So you teach the very basic step. And then you want to know, you really want to test your students a bit. So at that time, you give some extra word to them. Some extra word like, for example, nucleus or fish or furniture or something like this. At the time, the student don't know the irregular form of that one, and they tend to make it. That mistake is called developmental error. So I give you one example for that one, making singular form into plural form. At that time, the students can make the mistake like this. So can you think of another one, another example? This is itanatic developmental error. Another example.
Hello, teacher. I'm sorry, teacher. I have no idea.
Okay, I'll come back to you later in 3 minutes. You can think of it. Okay, I'll come back to you in 3 minutes. So Jacob, what about you?
No clue at the moment, teacher.
Okay.
Let me think.
Okay, come on, do quickly. So now let me pick up teacher Mala. Developmental error.
I think adjective, comparative, and superlative. So
Yes.
So for the regular comparative, so we add er, right? And then for the irregular adjective, so when it comes to convert to comparative form, so good, better, best. So some people don't, some students, they might not know when they are lower level, so that they convert into good or like that.
Yes. They just know one form and they don't really know the irregular form of that one yet. At the time, they tend to make the mistake. Okay, what about CSI? Hello, Sia.
Yes, teacher.
Example of developmental error.
Teacher, please give me a moment.
Okay, do quickly, please. So, teacher, what about you?
I think regular past tense and irregular past.
Yes.
Hello, teacher. Can you hear me? Yes. When we teach only past simple tasks, most of the students think that to change past simple form, we need to add ed or d or something like that. But for irregular past simple form, like good or yes, like good, we need to change the ent one for past simple, but they change good good or something like that. So I think this will maybe a supplemental errors, teacher.
Sure. So regular past and irregular past. Thank you. And teacher, I think you're ready.
Yes, teacher. How about the verb? When we use he, she, it, you have to put as, es, es, something like that. But we finish learning, we have to put only s. So I give the example of the verb starting like that. So at that time, they don't know to put ies. So like that.
Yes, sure. So PLAYS, please. STUDIES, it is. Yeah, like this. Okay, thank you, teacher. So yeah, Jacob, I think you
Okay,
also have got the idea.
Okay, I got some idea about pronunciation, about verb and a noun. Okay, for example, okay, as a noun, you protect, you say protect, right? And as a verb is protect, something like that pronunciation. That
pronunciation.
Yes. Pronunciation. Yes. Another one is record and record, something like that. You need to improve their pronunciation when they speak or write. Meaning between and pronunciation between two words, for example, noun and verb, something like that.
Noun and verb, and also when they start learning the word, like for example, record, right?
Record.
That time they usually think like, okay, record. Whenever I see re, I need to say read, and the students say record, and they hardly ever say record or something like that. Okay, thank you, Sia. Sai, what about you?
Teacher, how about from present simple to past, and mostly we change from present simple to past, then we add ed at the end of the past. But at the time, I will teach the students to change to plus ed at the end of the past. But I will give you a word CUT get. It is an irregular verb. At the time, the students will change CUT ed get it, and I think it would be a developmental error, right?
Developmental error, of course. So the students know only the basic information. At that time, we ask them extra things, which is beyond their level. We just want to know how much they know about something. At that time, we can say that is a kind of developmental error. So they tend to make it. Developmental error occur because of overgeneralization. They try to generalize the rule. When they know something, they try to use it in every situation. Oh, it will be like this, it will be like this. They use their standardization technique and then they try to apply it. That's why, because of overgeneralization, developmental errors occur. Cause and effect. Cause is overgeneralization, effect is developmental error. Okay, and then another one is we can also talk about fossilized error. Fossilized. Fossil is like 照片邮件, right? So it means it's a kind of how to say negative error. It's totally different from developmental error. We know why we made the mistake. We know the correct form of it, but we can change it because of our habit formation. That's why if you're teaching young learners, you need to be careful, because for the young learner teachers, if we give the wrong input to the students, especially in pronunciation or grammar or something like this, the students will apply that knowledge until they grow older. And even though they come to know about the correct form of it, they usually think about their childhood teacher. Oh no, my teacher taught me like this. No, that is the correct form. And it's really hard to, how to say, correct back, because they have been using it for a long time. Habit formation error. For example, for me, I also have my own fossilized error. That one is mistake, mistake. I know that mistake pronunciation, the stress is on the second syllable, mistake, not mistake, not like this. But since I was young, I used to say mistake, and that one is a kind of habit formation for me. And even though I know the correct form, I need to be careful. If I'm not careful, I tend to make the mistake again, mistake like this. So that is my fossilized pronunciation era. Now I will give you 1 minute to all of you. You can think of your own fossilized era. In which area, pronunciation or grammar or something like this? What are your common fossilized eras? In English usage, writing habit. 1 minute to think. Okay, so now let's start with, before you get into the breakout room, let me pick up one by one. Let's start with teacher Miu. Hello, teacher.
Hello, teacher. Hello.
Could you talk about your fossilized eras?
Maybe the things. So yeah, so I have sent a lot of vocabulary. So maybe that's a really wrong pronunciation from our teacher. So that's maybe heavy to pronounce, even though I know that's really doing mistake, but I cannot correct by myself some of the time like that. So that's why the reason of I'm not confident to teach and the 10 or 8, because I wanna give so incorrect pronunciation to them. Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
that's my opinion. So,
example word. Give the example word.
Example words. Yeah. I heard from you teachers from the video, so vegetable maybe. So we often say vegetable like that, right? So we often there's a lot of pronunciations like that. Yeah, vegetable and then yeah, comfortable.
Okay, so did she talk about lexical, how to say, lexical fossilized era or phonological fossilized era or synthetical fossilized era? Which one did she talk about it?
Phonology.
Phonological fossilized era, right? Phonological fossilized era. Okay, thank you. So the next teacher, Sia Minta Sam, what about you, Sia? Oh, sorry, Sia Vincent.
Oh, okay.
I call your name wrong.
Okay, teacher. I have one phonological fossilized error. It's zebra. Zebra. When I was young, my preschool teacher taught me like zebra. Yeah. And it's my fossilized error, I think. And I still pronounce like that zebra when I go to supermarket and buy some products that produce zebra. And yeah, it's my fossilized error, I think.
Okay, so this time I will say you how you need to talk about that one in breakout room. In breakout room, I don't want you to mention like it's a kind of blah 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 era, blah 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 era, blah blah blah. No need to mention like this. You can just talk about it. The other people will make a guess and do a start saying like, it's a kind of lexical fossilized era. I think it's a kind of phonological fossilized era. I think it's a kind of synthetical fossilized era like this. So I will give you example, okay, how you can start. Whenever I try to say the how to say, whenever I try to say he and she, he and she together with some of the verb, okay, some of the verb, I usually try to, how to say, drop the sa sound. So for example, instead of saying, he likes to cook, I say he likes to cook.
Syntax, yeah, grammatical first. Syntax, yeah.
Sorry?
Phonological
error, I think.
Phonological.
Right? I say say, right? When I say something, not writing, when I say something. Not grammatically, because of my, how to say, articulation system, I tend to drop it. And then, you know, whenever I have to think of the activity with do, I usually make the mistake. So for example, instead of saying make mistake, I say I do mistake. Instead of saying I do yoga, I say I make yoga. So
lexical fossilized error.
Syntax, I think.
Syntax
Syntax.
vocalization.
Yeah, syntax, right? Syntactical grammatical error. Because it's from grammar point, right? Do plus blah blah blah, play plus blah blah blah, make plus blah blah blah. Lexic is not like this. Vocabulary is choice-of word. Choice-of word. For example, if I say like, you know, when I was young, if I see somebody who has got a very big belly, I usually say that, oh, she is so fat. She is so fat. At that time, people tend to feel really angry with me because they don't want to hear the word fat from me. So like this. Actually, instead of saying fat, I could say, oh, I think you're a little bit overweight. I think you're a bit chubby. So it's a little bit more polite, right? Choice of word matters a lot. So like this, in breakout room, you can talk about your own fossilized errors. And then the other people need to guess, and you can say it's a kind of lexical error or phonological error or syntactical error. Okay, lexical is vocabulary, choice of word, vocabulary range. Phonology is pronunciation. Syntax is grammar. Let's start trying to work together in breakout room. So for this one, I will give you only 10 minutes. We'll try to work it together.
Form of the looking forward to plus ing pattern, but they always say that the correct one is looking forward to seeing you, right? So but they always make the mistake in that looking forward to plus verb infinitive like this, looking forward to see you like this, right? So that's why that is a kind of the fossilization. So what do you think about that? So is that the syntax?
Syntax.
Yeah,
syntax.
Yeah.
It's a kind of grammatical error. Syntax.
Yeah.
Yes, syntax. Now, can I?
Yes.
Yeah, for me, my fossilization error is instead of telling desert, I always say desert, desert. And really, it is desert, right? We can eat the desert after I finish or maybe our lunch or something. So at the time, I have to say desert, but I always say desert.
Yes, yeah, I mean, we know the menu, but in our country we just call menu. So if I in the restaurant if I say menu, so I will be the straight man. That's why I just say menu book like that. So I can change. That's why sometimes in the class time also I just use the menu. So it's one of my for the error. So it will be what kind of for the error?
Lexical. Oh, sorry, phonology.
Yeah, so I can change.
Another one.
Okay, my fossilized errors is says. When we use this word, he or she, we always tend to pronounce he say, she says, he says. Okay, what kind of error is that?
Yeah, it's also
phonological error.
Yeah,
phonological error. Yes.
Yeah. For me, instead of saying women, right, I always say women, the plural form. I always say a singular form. Yeah. It can be, I think,
It can be the
phonological era, right?
Most of us make phonological errors the most.
Yeah. Yeah, another one I make it there are some sugar in the body. So I just
I don't think it's a mistake also.
Yes, I often do that. So if that is a really mistake, so I often do. Please open your camera. So instead of turn on your camera.
It is lexical error.
I think it is okay to use for the children.
Syntactic error. Syntactic error. In my opinion, it is syntactic error.
Opinion.
Right?
It is syntactic error. Grammar mistake, I think so.
Yeah, grammar mistake.
Both parts.
Vocab is maybe spelling, wrong spelling.
Wrong spelling.
Yeah, misspell the word. Yeah, misspell the word. Vocab. P-I-E-T-T-Y. P-I-E-T-Y.
Yes.
Someone forgot because I didn't take it as a screenshot. Syntactic
phonological. It concerned with pronunciation, and the lexical it concerned with vocab.
The next one, sorry, the next one.
First one is lexics, phonological, syntax.
Yeah, lexical.
Yeah, lexical, phonology, syntax.
Oh, lexical. Yeah. So I often did kind of phonological because I did a lot of time. So when I write something, so I did mistake very often.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
How about the other teacher?
Yes, teacher. Can I start now? Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, I think make a phonology.
That we rarely use I and my friends. So we say that my friends and I think so. So that's why. So we cannot use my friends and me. Me is in the place in the object pronoun, right? So we can use in that case, right? So but we say that my brother bought some ice cream for me and my friends, so we can use for me and my friends, right? So in the object place, we can use the object pronoun me. But it is in there. But what I understand is that in the subject place, we never use the me and my friend and me, right? My friend and I think.
Yeah.
So that is also another fossilization era, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is the
Syntax.
syntax.
Yes. Syntax. Yes.
Yeah, I have one thing. You know, I always pronounce it's negative, putting negative errors. Like, you know, the negative form of well is won't. So most of my students put not in share. They pronounce that shan't. You know, well not is won't. Then they pronounce share not shan't. That is what kind of error do you think?
So it's gonna be phonological fossilization.
Yeah, it's correct. Phonological fossilization error. They always pronounce shall not shan't, but it's shan't, I think.
Shan't. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is a kind of the phonological, right?
Yes, phonological error.
So this is, I'm gonna go and take that another, but this one is no good. Sorry.
So do you have any other errors?
Like I think sometimes like we said I do, right? I do in for the young learners, so they said like we do, yes I do. So they also say like teacher, he also do, he do it. So actually they have to say he does, right? She does, he does, but they say like he do, she do, and I do, like this. Yeah, this kind of fossilization also, so we can hear in the class.
Another point I found in the fossilizations is that, so when they, even though, so most of the adult students, they know that question deck. And then, so are you a student? And actually the phone is on you, right? So, but they always say that, are you a student? Are you? So they always say like this. That is a kind of the error. So they may, but they have already know the question that is quite easy. Quite easy to understand, right? And also quite easy to remember, but they always make the mistake whenever they speak in English. They interact with others, So they just say that, are you a student? Are you? They just say that, right? Actually, so are you a student? Aren't you? Right? Like this, right? Okay.
Yeah,
So
aren't
that
you?
is, I think that question tag, I found some personalization error in the question tag.
So that's a syntax fossilization, right? That's a syntax fossilization.
Yeah.
Yes.
Syntax. Question tag.
Teacher sent the exercise for us.
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, did you?
What prophecy?
The first one.
First one.
The first one.
The first one. Okay. For question 6 to 10, much the teacher comment.
The teacher's comment.
Oh, that is pronunciation slip. The third one.
Yes.
The third one. Oh, sorry.
No, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
pronunciation.
Pronunciation. Okay, correct. Okay.
Yeah.
I've several students.
That is grammatical.
Yeah, grammatical. Again,
Can it be for like grammatical error too?
number 7. For select.
7, yeah.
Like who still say things like, so it means that
Yeah, it's there.
it for like
Fossilized grammatical
For select grammatical. Right.
Yeah. Beginner, and beginner.
That is
Development
error.
Developmental error.
Lexical developmental error. Right?
Error.
True.
Yes, present is random.
It's a grammatical slip.
Grammatical.
Grammatical slip.
That is
lexical.
Lexical.
slip.
Lexical in the
Okay. Two learners error.
First one.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think so.
Second
it
one.
must be second one, right?
Isn't the second one?
Look at the question about accusation and action.
Children under age of 5.
Yes.
The first one.
The first.
grammatical error.
Like that sentence.
Actually, grammatical is me. First, like me, that's me. He often did. It's like the video. So it's but the correct answer it is right.
It's very nice. Yeah.
It is very nice. So we can use it's very nice. So to be construct
Yeah.
it and is. So that's
Who
why.
stays in? Who stay? Yeah.
Say
Who stays?
thing.
Who stays in my day?
In
Stay. Although he has been corrected by someone. Right. I think so. Because of stay.
say things like
Yeah. Right. She's
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just teacher, I think it's a grammatical slip. Error.
Grammatical slip.
I definitely think that it has grammatical error.
Oh, okay, so
but I don't think it
so
is
why should
fossilized.
this?
Oh, error.
Yeah, stay safe.
Because of Stacy. Always say
We choose
like this.
by using hit or miss method.
I noticed the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
sentence there. I don't know what to do about
Yeah,
it.
it-
That's why I noticed it.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
So where
Yeah.
like nice or good or anything positive, then they gradually started to use language more precise. Let's see.
Yeah, supplemental.
Let's see. Get
Supplementary,
Yeah.
right? Precise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see the one. Yeah.
or anything positive, then they gradually started to use more precisely.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is mean precise? I don't know. Honestly
Yeah,
speaking.
it's accurate, accuracy,
Oh,
more accurate.
Accuracy.
Oh, sure. Let's get the comment area.
During his presentation this morning, Ram was so nervous that he said, "My mother, she is coming to visit me."
Yeah, split.
Oh, that's a
Coming
grammatical.
to visit me. Coming to visit me was not that
Yeah.
he said, "My mother."
Grammatical slip.
Grammatical slip, sure.
Yeah. Grammatical slip. My mother, she's coming to visit me.
Yeah, this is coming to.
My best student was so nervous that he said, "Coming to visit me." Grammatical slip. So what is the correct one here? My mother, she is coming to visit me. Visit
Is
me?
this to me or no?
Not to me.
No.
She's visiting me.
Yeah,
Visiting me.
yeah, she is visiting.
To me, we can use to.
My mother is. My mother. Yeah.
He said.
Yeah, my mother is coming to visit.
My mother is. So we grammatical
visiting.
Okay, nearly all the students who share the same language brother when they meet brothers and sisters. I don't know why.
Let's get.
The rest two are for the young learner, right? Autonomously. That's it. So we're gonna choose. Okay. So all agree, all in favor. So what about the teacher? What about teachers?
Yes.
Okay, no. Okay, move to 15.
Runners error. Always very
Right?
simple.
This one, right?
I think can some.
Sometimes for slide. Okay, I agree.
Yes.
What about the others? What about the others? Okay, shall we move to
Choose
another section?
the possible answers.
This is education, pronunciation.
Can you move to the?
We talk about 16, right?
Okay, sorry,
Okay.
sir, I got it.
Is the under Asia, right? Oh, no. If the child is under Asia, is this a cognitive skill is developed or not? Not yet, right? I guess because we just take the children to the kindergarten over 5, right? So because they are cognitive is over Asia 20. Picking a language, man.
I would choose
For me, I like to choose Sharon.
Yeah, I like to choose it. Yeah.
They pick a language like that.
All agree? All agree?
Yes.
Okay. Move to 17, okay? It's close. I think it's
I
right?
also
High.
think acquire more language.
Okay, what about the others, teacher?
Acquire
All
more
agree,
language.
okay. Teacher, mean the same.
Yes,
You
I agree with you.
You agree? Okay. Process the
That's the
language.
language. Yeah.
19. Acquiring language.
I think
Learning language.
learning language.
Yeah. The picking a language, right? Acquisition.
Yeah,
acquiring
learning languages by
C,
hearing.
right? Okay. Move to 20.
To accuracy and
Yes,
use.
I guess. Okay. Which are comments and types of mistake. Okay.
Developmental error.
Go for.
What?
Developmental error.
Yeah. Even though this level of English was good, that's the only.
Slip.
Slip.
L1 interference.
Tips, but which one?
L1 interference.
No, I guess it is a, is it? This
That's what
advanced student, right?
Oh yes.
Is it?
Complementary error.
No, sorry. Or I mean 24 because
Is that all agree with A?
Yeah.
Well, 23. Okay, move to 24, okay? So we did
I think slip. Oh, wait.
Good night, so yeah.
Slip. We have done, right?
yeah, slips.
So 25, okay? We need a list. Yes, and in the slip.
Bit nervous.
You got nervous, right? So all agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Learning is they have to notice the new vocab.
So
I think instead of reading
I
instead of
think
reading the
that
whole paragraph.
for formal language learning is focus on learning. So they move to the focus on learning to acquisition, right? No. So they prefer focus on form learning. So not the acquisition. What I understand is that L2 move to focus on form, then the acquisition. I think
right?
that because they liked because they I think that they if they learned well autonomously, so that is concerned with the acquisition. So that's why it won't be possible. And then the second one is they like taking risks. So that the learner has different learning purpose. One is the quite fit and the language by analyzing, so point by point, facts by facts. So form learning, right? So most grammatical structure and all started learning that language, right? So that's why they have an analytical learning style. So that because of this, they don't know
I agree with you. I know the L2 learner age one.
I think it's from childhood. I think
L2 learner is they started learning from their primary or secondary when they start to learn it, right? So that is not quite similar with the acquisition learning. So I mostly compare our mother tongue. We don't need to our mother tongues from our can learn the language, but for the started learning from the when we started joining to the classes. So when I read about from and learners are not similar.
I think it's number 2.
So,
Sometimes
and then I think that the second one is quite possible, right?
Picking up language is
most from picking up acquisition, right? So child and the age of 5.
Yeah, right.
I think that is the first one is possible. Children enter the age of 5. They can
they can get language or speaking styles from their surroundings, and especially
language help learner being exposed to the right level or language help learner check their own progress, increase their interaction. I'm not very sure about that.
Language.
Being exposed to the right level of the language exposure. So the learner.
No, number B is not correct. I think right level we can increase our interaction if we are in higher level of language.
Yeah, I agree with number 2. Increase their interaction.
I agree with number 2.
No, he has right level of language.
Being exposed to the right level of language helps
because of
their own progress, acquire more language. I think they number 2 is possible.
So what about others?
Check their own progress.
So
that language.
B or C.
So I think they acquire more language because exposure and the acquisition is linking together. I think so. I'm not very sure about.
Being exposed to the right level of language helps learner.
That makes headache.
B or C.
I think like number 2 because like in number 3 it said like acquire more language. So more language mean like maybe the different languages.
So what I understand is that more language means that more more points from the language. So but it's okay.
The right level of language help.
Yeah, so I choose number 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, to increase their interaction. And a
Silent
silent
period
period
is a
is
time.
Time
when
one
learners
do written work, study the
written work,
language,
study
progress
the
the
language,
do
Process.
written work.
process the language.
Process,
Yeah,
study.
Silent period
Process,
is the time one learner process.
And acquiring
Language involves study the no.
Acquiring language involves studying the grammar
So,
practically.
this just to language focus.
Yeah, number C.
Number C.
Yeah, by hearing or reading.
By hearing or reading. Yes, number C.
When we
When we
focus
focus
on
on
the
the
form
form
of
of
language,
language, we talk
with classmates.
Pay attention to accuracy and use listen to video and audio content.
I think
accuracy.
accuracy.
Listen to
Accuracy and
number two.
Number 2.
Right.
Even
It's
though
natural. It's natural for all beginners.
It's natural for all beginners to say good home
It's natural for all beginners to say
instead of I
beginners and go
developmental
home.
error.
Developmental errors.
Developmental errors.
And developmental error.
I think it's for beginners.
Yeah.
So even though his level of English was good,
students
so it's always like the sleep.
yesterday that
It's slip.
Sleep.
They wouldn't normally make
Slips.
like
He is a good student.
He was so excited.
Because of his excitement.
Yeah, excitement.
23. This
So this
advanced
student
still has
students
problem.
students still have
distinguishing between S and sensation as doesn't exist in his language.
L1 interference.
in his language.
Because he is advanced students.
After we done the unit
unit
on
comparative
Using more several
or
students.
nicer.
Using more several students. More nicer.
It is developmental error.
Complementary errors. I think slips.
Developmental error. More nicer.
I think it is after we have done the unit on comparatives.
But do you know that they use the root, they apply the roots in every words.
Yeah.
So I think that it is the developmental error.
Developmental errors. Okay.
So I think they haven't they only finish some parts of the comparative, some units of the comparative.
Okay. They only touch about the simple forms, not
the irregular forms.
Irregular forms. Yeah.
So the intermediate level student did the written exercise on regular verbs perfectly, but she said, cut it. Very reported. She was
spelling, very similar to English. Pronunciation. Because the inventor is an American man, so that's very similar to English alphabet. But I still making some mistake.
Yeah, I think even native speaker, native teacher, they also make mistakes. No worries. We need to encourage ourselves.
Sometimes I don't think it's our pronunciation mistake. It's our kind of accents.
Yeah, accent. Yeah,
Yes, accents.
intonation sometimes.
Yeah, accents and intonations.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes our accents can be fixed because our Burmese language have so many alphabets, right? So we can like produce so many kinds of pronunciation. We can say like so many things, like and like Korean or Chinese, they can speak some of the English words, but for us we can speak nicely and like more like English words because our Burmese alphabet can produce those sounds.
Okay, shall I go to May session?
Yes.
Yet, and some groups have already finished. Don't worry. I just want to test the time limitations. So here I have already shared the exercise for unit 10, 11, and 12 individually. Not now, later you can try it on your own. And then while you are doing this exercise, there may be some terminology that you don't really know. At that time, you can make notes for those things. And you can also come up with questions to ask me. Okay, which questions would you like to ask me about unit 10, 11, and 12 exercises? You can prepare for it by checking with your notes. When we meet back each other on Tuesday, right? Next week, Tuesday, when we meet back, we will discuss the exercises together. And then at that time, if you want to ask me some questions, you can ask. But make sure you try to do the exercises completely, because if you don't do the exercise completely, you may have no questions. So, okay. So for register era and stylistic era, it's a present for you. So you can just try to find the data on your own. What is register era and what is stylistic era? Another one. And for next week, I want you to read unit 13. Okay, unit 13. I will type in Zoom chat. Unit 13. And also another one is unit 30. Unit 13 and 30, only 2 units. You can try to read from TKD coursebook, orange book. Okay? TKD coursebook second edition, unit 13 and unit 30. You have only 2 jobs to do. The first one is unit 10, 11, 12 exercises. And second one is you need to read unit 13 and unit 30. Okay, only 2. So if you want to ask me more questions, you can ask me on. Thank you, teacher. Bye.